Hey everybody, Kristen here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're into the minimalism, simplifying, and healthy living, then stick around. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to declutter the need to be right and end disagreements quick. So if you've ever struggled with getting in an argument with a significant other, a friend, a family member, and you're just stuck in a toxic cycle of continuous argument after argument after argument, fight after fight after fight, then this video is for you and is going to be helpful for y'all. Something that has been tremendous in my kind of decluttering journey is decluttering and really learning how to let go of the need to be right. One of the first things, figuring out and really exploring what's underneath that need to be right. So there's some sort of fear, insecurity, something that's going on for you personally and why you want to be right. Obviously, you know, our ego flares up, we get defensive, we want to be right? We want to prove our position because we're very convinced that we're right. The problem is when you're arguing, you're just fighting to fight. You're fighting to prove something, you're fighting due to fear, insecurity. The problem is you're actually damaging your relationship with the person that you're fighting with, all because you want to be right. I took a lot of self-awareness and really digging deeper and journaling out some of these things in order for me to discover and really dig deeper here. So some of the questions I asked myself is why? Why do I feel the need to be right? What's the fear underneath my why? What are some insecurities related to the need to be right? Discovered is there was this fear and this insecurity of I'm not enough, or that the other person will see me as inferior, dumb, stupid, unintelligent, and that they will then leave me or abandon me, right? That's really at its core was why I was fighting for that position, right? Because if I proved that I was right, I proved that I was intelligent, I proved that I was enough, and I proved that I was superior, right? It wasn't about seeing or hearing the other person. It really was just selfishly about proving that I was right, because otherwise that fear and insecurity was peeking out and I was going to lose this other person. So it really wasn't even about the being right piece. It was really about the fact that I was afraid of being left, afraid of the other person leaving if I allowed them to win the argument. But that's the wrong way of looking at it. So I would encourage you to explore that more. Is there a fear of rejection? Is there a fear of failure, a fear of being left, a fear of being abandoned, a fear of just what are the insecurities and fears underneath the why, underneath that need to be right? Because there's something there. And if you explore the why and you explore some of the times where you've maybe tried to fight this position with someone else, specifically a significant other, a family member, a friend, really explore the why behind it. Step back, step back, observe what you're feeling and thinking, and really identify what's going on. Journal it out, what's actually going on internally. Because in the moment, your ego is flaring up, you're defensive, you're fighting, but you're not really in the heat of the moment able to identify why that is. So explore that. And I think too, an important thing to note is that a lot of times we think that in our relationships, we want other people to agree with us, but what we actually want is to be seen and heard and loved as we are. That's what we want. We want validation. We want to be seen and heard. And the best way that you can do that is by putting yourself in the other person's shoes, by letting go of the need to be right, by exploring where your insecurities lies, working on improving those insecurities, and finding ways to compromise, to let things go, and to make the other person feel seen and heard. Because if that's what you can do, if you approach every argument and have dug deep and worked through all these things and let go of the need to be right and turn off your ego, and you're able to make that other person feel seen and heard and put yourself in their shoes, your arguments and your relationships are going to look drastically different. And I'm not saying I do this perfectly. I'm not saying that I still don't feel the need to be right or that I don't ever get defensive. 100%, I am a human being, right? But I've gotten better at showing grace and listening better and helping other people feel seen and heard and really evaluating their position. And one of the ways I do this is by stopping, taking a step back, taking a break, a 5-minute break, to evaluate, where is my ego at? Am I being defensive? Am I just fearing that rejection, fearing being left, trying to prove my point? And what is the other person thinking, feeling, and experiencing? And what's their why? Because if I can look at things from their perspective, I can show them empathy. I can show them validation. And if I can make them feel seen and heard, that's really all that they want. And that's all that I want. And if I'm able to do that, they're much more likely to reciprocate that versus me coming at them with, well, you're wrong, I'm right. Right? Pointing that finger is just going to make them defensive. Raising your voice is just going to make them defensive. I also want to just say, if your relationship, if you never have any disagreements at all, then basically you're just in a relationship with yourself, because you're not really being honest or really talking things through, being honest with the other person about what's going on. You're gonna have disagreements. There's gonna be bumps because we're different. We're different people with different views and different upbringings. And so we are gonna disagree on things, but it's how you disagree and how you choose to manage it, how you choose to let go of that need to be right. I think the important thing is, when you disagree, you have to disagree with grace. You have to disagree and figure out and find ways to walk in the other person's shoes and help them feel seen and heard, and to be willing to let things go into compromise. And that's really at the core of it. That has changed my relationships. Being able to forgive, being able to show grace, being able to work through and challenge my ego. Working through, it's probably one of the hardest things to declutter, because it's very emotional and it involves a lot of internal work. It involves a lot of practice. Again, I don't do this perfectly, far from it, but I aim every single day with the people that I'm with. And I ask myself, how can I show them grace? And when I feel the need to be right, I ask myself this question: what if I'm wrong? I could be wrong. And I just challenge you all to really explore that, journal it out, and figure out, well, why do I need to be right all the time? What is the fear or insecurity? What's underneath it? To really explore that, to dig deeper. It's hard work, but it's definitely very, very rewarding, and it'll help your relationships a ton. So I hope you all got value from this video. But until next time, it's a beautiful day to simplify. Bye, y'all.